Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar Alert. For years, Iraq has been seen as a land full of incredible economic potential, but also one held back by instability, bureaucracy, and financial uncertainty. As we look toward 2025, many analysts are asking a huge question. Will Iraq finally open its doors to more foreign investors? With new government reforms, rising oil revenues, and major international partnerships taking shape, Iraq might be on the verge of one of the most transformative periods in its modern economic history. So today, we're diving deep into Iraq's current investment climate, what's changing, and how likely it is that we'll see a surge of foreign investment very soon. Despite decades of challenges, Iraq is still one of the most resource-rich countries in the Middle East. It has the world's fifth largest oil reserves, a strategic location connecting Asia, Europe, and the Gulf, a young workforce, and a massive need for new infrastructure and technology. But investors have been cautious due to political instability, corruption, and a weak banking system. Now, however, change seems to be in the air. The Iraqi government has been actively working to make the country more attractive to global companies. They're digitalizing processes like company registration and tax procedures to cut down on red tape. The Central Bank of Iraq is pushing for electronic payment systems and stronger anti-money laundering regulations to build trust in the financial sector. Plus, new investment laws are offering protection for foreign assets, allowing 100% foreign ownership in many sectors and providing tax exemptions. These are huge incentives. Iraq is also strengthening its ties with the World Bank, the IMF, and other global organizations, which adds another layer of confidence for investors. If Iraq does open up further, several key sectors are set to explode with foreign interest. First, of course, is oil and gas. New contracts and renewable energy projects could attract billions. Then there's construction and infrastructure. Iraq desperately needs new highways, bridges, housing, and power plants, creating massive opportunities. The tech sector is also ripe for investment, as Iraq races to modernize its internet, fintech, and cybersecurity. We're already seeing countries like Turkey, China, and the UAE exploring these partnerships. Agriculture is another sleeping giant. With investment in modern farming, Iraq could become a major food producer again. And finally, tourism, religious, historical, and cultural, is an untapped goldmine just waiting for development. Of course, there are still obstacles. Corruption remains a huge challenge, with investors facing delays and complex paperwork. While security has improved a lot, some companies are still hesitant. The enforcement of laws designed to protect investors can be slow and inconsistent, and the cash-based economy can create hurdles for foreign firms. But there are powerful signs that Iraq is serious about opening up. The country is hosting international investment conferences, easing visa rules for investors, and developing free economic zones with reduced taxes and bureaucracy. Companies from the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and China are already signing new agreements for major development projects. So, what's the final verdict? Will Iraq fully open its doors? Most analysts believe the answer is yes, but it will be a gradual process, not a sudden flood. The government knows it needs to diversify its economy away from just oil, and that requires foreign expertise and technology. However, deep political divisions and bureaucratic resistance could slow things down. In conclusion, Iraq is at a critical turning point. The government is clearly trying to make the business environment more attractive, and international companies are paying close attention. While challenges are still very real, the overall direction is positive. We believe Iraq will continue to open its doors to foreign investors, but this transformation will be slow and steady. If Iraq can maintain stability, improve transparency, and modernize its systems, it has the potential to become one of the most exciting investment markets in the Middle East over the next decade. Is Iraq, a nation with immense potential, finally ready to open its doors to the world? That's the big question on everyone's mind, from global economists to major corporations. The answer isn't simple, but let's break it down. Iraq is one of the most resource-rich countries in the Middle East. We're talking about the fifth largest oil reserves in the world, a young and increasingly educated population, and a strategic location connecting Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. The potential is absolutely enormous. However, for decades, issues like instability, corruption, and an outdated financial system have made foreign investors very cautious. But now it seems the tide is starting to turn. The Iraqi government knows that relying solely on oil isn't a sustainable plan for the future. To build a strong, diversified economy, they need foreign capital, technology, and expertise. And they're taking action. New investment laws have been introduced, offering major incentives. For example, foreign companies can now have full ownership of certain projects, get long-term land leases, and even enjoy tax exemptions for up to 10 years. These are serious moves designed to compete with regional giants like the UAE and Saudi Arabia. But what about corruption, a long-standing hurdle? The government is fighting back with technology. New e-government platforms are being rolled out to cut down on paperwork, reduce bribery opportunities, and speed up approvals. It's a tough battle, but it's a start. At the same time, Iraq's central bank is modernizing the financial system. They're boosting digital payments, strengthening anti-money laundering rules, and improving international banking compliance to build trust and create a safer environment for foreign money. One of the biggest magnets for investors right now is infrastructure. Iraq's cities are in desperate need of a massive overhaul: new roads, bridges, airports, power grids, and housing. Major reconstruction projects are already underway in Baghdad, Basra, and Mosul. Companies from China, Turkey, the UAE, and South Korea are already on the ground, signing large-scale contracts. Rebuilding the country requires global expertise, making infrastructure a key gateway for foreign investment. Beyond infrastructure, several other sectors are buzzing with opportunity. In energy, it's not just about oil anymore. There's a huge need for investment in gas capture projects, refining, and especially renewable energy like solar power. Big players like Saudi Arabia and Total Energies are already partnering on new green initiatives. Then there's agriculture. Iraq was once the breadbasket of the region, and there's a major push to revive its farming sector. This opens up opportunities in modern irrigation, food processing, and agricultural technology. With the right investment, Iraq could once again become a major food supplier. And we can't forget technology. The demand for internet expansion, cloud services, and fintech solutions is skyrocketing. A young, tech-savvy generation is driving this digital transformation, creating a perfect environment for foreign tech companies to enter the market. Even tourism is on the rise. With ancient Mesopotamian sites and religious shrines that attract millions of pilgrims each year, there's a massive need for investment in hotels, transport, and travel services. This growing interest is real. The UAE is investing in ports and real estate. China is heavily involved in infrastructure. Saudi Arabia is focused on agriculture and renewables. These partnerships signal a rising confidence in Iraq's future. Of course, it's not all smooth sailing. Significant challenges remain. Political instability can create uncertainty, and deep-rooted corruption is still a major concern. Security has improved, but isolated incidents can still spook investors. And some companies still face hurdles with bank transfers and currency access. So, what's the final verdict? Is Iraq opening its doors? The answer is a cautious yes. The country is clearly moving in the right direction. The government is serious about reform, and global interest is growing. But this transformation won't happen overnight. It will be a gradual process, dependent on continued political stability and a persistent fight against corruption. Iraq is slowly and carefully opening up. If it stays on this path, the next decade could see it transform from a high-risk market into one of the most important investment destinations in the Middle East. The potential is there, and the world is watching. Is Iraq on the verge of becoming the world's next big investment hotspot? For decades, the nation has been seen as a place of immense potential but also significant risk. Now, with major reforms, shifting global alliances, and a massive need for modernization, all eyes are on Iraq. So, is it finally ready to open its doors to global capital? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about Iraq's untapped economic power. We all know about its oil reserves, among the top 5 in the world. But that's just the beginning. Over 60% of its population is under 30, creating a huge dynamic workforce. Its strategic location acts as a gateway between the Middle East, Europe, and Asia. Plus, the sheer scale of reconstruction needed, from highways to power plants, presents enormous opportunities. And don't forget agriculture. With fertile land and ancient rivers, Iraq was once known as the breadbasket of the Middle East. Despite all this, years of instability and corruption have kept investors away. But things are starting to change. So, what is Iraq actually doing to attract foreign money? The government is rolling out some serious reforms. They're updating investment laws to allow foreign companies to own land, offering long-term project licenses, and even providing tax holidays for up to 15 years. This brings its policies much closer to what we see in the successful Gulf economies. Security has also improved dramatically. Major cities like Baghdad, Basra, and Erbil are buzzing with new hotels, shopping centers, and international company branches. The central bank is also stepping up, modernizing the financial system with digital banking, electronic payments, and stronger anti-money laundering controls to meet global standards. Let's look at the key sectors where we could see massive foreign investment. Oil and gas is the obvious one, with huge opportunities in pipeline expansion, gas capture projects, and refinery upgrades. But beyond oil, the reconstruction and infrastructure sector is a gold mine. Billions of dollars are needed to rebuild roads, airports, and electricity grids. Companies in engineering, construction, and logistics could thrive here. Agriculture is another sleeping giant. With modern irrigation and food processing technology, Iraq could once again feed the region. The tech sector is also booming, with soaring demand for faster internet, cybersecurity, and digital payment systems. Finally, tourism. Millions of religious and cultural tourists already visit Iraq each year. With better hotels and transport, it could become a major Middle Eastern tourism hub. Of course, it's not all smooth sailing. Significant challenges remain. Political instability can cause delays and uncertainty. Corruption and bureaucracy are still major hurdles, though the government is actively working on anti-corruption reforms. The legal system is improving, but foreign companies still worry about contract enforcement. And while major cities are stable, security concerns persist in some regions, which can make investors nervous. Despite these hurdles, there are strong signs that Iraq is opening up more. Especially as we look towards 2025, the country has been hosting international investment conferences, showcasing projects in energy, housing, and technology. It's also developing special economic zones that offer tax breaks and less bureaucracy, specifically designed to attract foreign companies. We're also seeing stronger partnerships with Gulf nations like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar, who are pouring money into Iraqi agriculture, banking, and renewable energy. And with rising oil revenues, the government has more cash to fund these investor-friendly programs. So, what's the final verdict? Will Iraq open its doors to more foreign investors? The answer seems to be a clear yes, but it will be a gradual and strategic process. The country desperately needs foreign capital for reconstruction and to diversify its economy beyond oil. The reforms are real, and global companies are already showing serious interest. However, progress will be slow. Political divisions, deep-rooted bureaucracy, and the need for further financial modernization mean investors will want to see long-term stability and guarantees. The big picture is this. Iraq is not fully open for business just yet, but it is moving in that direction more aggressively than ever before. With its vast resources, young population, an urgent need for development, Iraq has all the ingredients to become a leading emerging market. If the current reforms hold and political stability is maintained, the next decade could see Iraq transform into a major destination for global investment. Is Iraq about to become the Middle East's next big investment hotspot? For years, this nation, rich in potential but held back by instability, has been on the sidelines of the global economy. But now, the whispers are getting louder. From Baghdad to boardrooms across the world, analysts are asking one question. Is Iraq finally ready to open its doors to foreign investors? The answer could reshape the entire region. The Iraqi government is signaling a massive shift. They're tired of relying solely on oil and are now pushing a bold new vision. The goal? To diversify the economy by boosting sectors like agriculture, tourism, manufacturing, and even the digital space. With millions of young Iraqis looking for jobs, they know that attracting global partners from the Gulf, China, Europe, and the US is the key to creating a vibrant, private sector-led future. So why are foreign companies suddenly so interested? First, the obvious: Iraq's colossal natural resources. Beyond its world-famous oil reserves, there's huge potential in solar energy and natural gas. Second, it's a massive, untapped consumer market of over 45 million people. Third, its strategic location makes it a natural bridge for trade between Asia, Europe, and the Gulf. And finally, after years of conflict, the country is in the middle of a massive rebuilding phase. Everything from highways to hospitals needs to be modernized, creating countless opportunities. To prove they're serious, Iraq has started rolling out major reforms. They've updated investment laws to allow full foreign ownership in many sectors, offer tax exemptions, and permit the free transfer of profits. The central bank is also modernizing, pushing for digital banking and stronger anti-money laundering systems to create a safer financial environment. Major infrastructure projects are already underway, including new railways, ports, and fiber optic networks. We're already seeing companies from France, Germany, the UAE, and China getting involved in energy and construction, creating a wave of momentum. If this trend continues, where will the biggest growth be? Energy is a given, with opportunities to modernize oil fields and build renewable projects. But the real game changer could be the development road project, a massive trade corridor linking the Gulf to Europe that could attract billions in investment for transport and logistics. Agriculture is another sleeping giant. With modern tech and irrigation, Iraq's fertile lands could feed the region. The country also needs over 1 million new homes, making real estate and construction a gold mine. And let's not forget tech. Iraq's digital economy is just getting started. Of course, the road ahead isn't perfectly smooth. Significant challenges remain. Political uncertainty, bureaucracy, and corruption can still slow things down. While security has improved dramatically, some regional instability persists. Investors are also looking for a stronger legal framework to protect their contracts and a more advanced banking system. So, what's the final verdict? Is Iraq ready to welcome the world? The country is closer than it has ever been. The government's vision, combined with growing interest from international partners, makes it one of the most exciting emerging markets to watch. The change won't happen overnight. It will be a gradual process. But if the current reforms continue, the next decade could mark one of the most significant economic transformations in Iraq's modern history. The doors are creaking open, and the world is starting to peer inside. For decades, Iraq has been a land of immense potential, yet one that global investors have watched from a distance. With vast oil reserves, a strategic location, and a young growing population, it's a market that's hard to ignore. As we head towards 2025, the big question is Iraq finally ready to open its doors to the world? Let's break it down. Iraq's economy has always been about one thing, oil. But that's changing. The government knows it can't rely on oil forever and is now pushing to diversify. They're looking at agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, and even renewable energy. To do this, they need help. They need the technology, expertise, and capital that foreign companies can bring. This shift in thinking is the first major sign that things are moving. So why are investors so interested? First, the natural wealth is staggering. Beyond the massive oil and gas fields, Iraq has valuable minerals and huge potential for solar power. Second, its demographics are a huge advantage. A young, expanding population means a ready workforce and millions of consumers eager for new products and services. And third, its location is perfect. Nestled between the Gulf, Europe, and Asia, Iraq could become a major trade hub. Add to that the massive need for reconstruction, new housing, roads, hospitals, and power grids, and you have a recipe for enormous opportunity. To make this happen, the Iraqi government has started rolling out some key reforms. They've updated investment laws to allow full foreign ownership in many sectors, offer tax breaks, and make it easier to send profits home. The banking sector is also getting a much-needed upgrade, with new digital tools and stronger regulations to build trust. Plus, huge infrastructure projects are underway, like the Development Road Trade Corridor, which aims to connect Asia with Europe right through Iraq. These projects aren't just for internal development. They're designed to attract international partners. If Iraq fully opens up, where will the money go? The oil and gas sector will always be huge, but now there's growing interest in gas capture and solar energy. Logistics and transportation will be massive, especially with the Development Road project. The construction and housing market is set to explode to meet the needs of a growing population. And don't forget technology. Iraq's digital transformation is just beginning, creating huge opportunities in high-speed internet, cloud services, and cybersecurity. But let's be realistic. There are still major hurdles. Political instability makes long-term planning difficult. Corruption remains a significant barrier, and investors need to know their contracts will be honored. While security has improved, it's not uniform across the country. And basic infrastructure, like reliable electricity, is still a work in progress. These challenges are real, but they're not stopping everyone. Interest is slowly but surely growing. Countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar are already investing in energy, banking, and agriculture. China is a major player in infrastructure, and European firms are getting involved in energy and transportation. The more Iraq works with global partners, the more confidence it builds. So what's the final verdict? Is Iraq ready? The answer is yes, but it's a gradual process. The doors are opening, but step by step. The potential is undeniable, and the government seems committed to change. If Iraq can continue to strengthen its institutions, fight corruption, and build out its infrastructure, the next decade could witness one of the most significant economic transformations in its modern history. The journey has begun and the world is watching. Thanks for watching, and if you found this interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights.